around 10 below. High temperatures reach up to 14 tomorrow. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Daytime highs approaching 27 Friday with a chance of snow. 47 bright sunshine expected Saturday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 59 Sunday, 68 Monday, and 65 on Tuesday. A dusting of snow today with another inch Friday. Get up to the minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Right now, 12 below.
Looking for big savings on a powerful new ride? Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas has you covered. Right now, drive home a 2025 Silverado 2500 with just 3.9% financing for 60 months. Need space and style? Get $1,000 customer loyalty cash on a 2024 Chevy Suburban. Or grab a 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 Pro Diesel. Originally just over $67,000, now just over $56,000 with a huge hail discount. Swing by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
At Nextech Wireless, we're committed to delivering more than just quality wireless service. We're here to provide you with exceptional customer support every step of the way. Experience our service risk-free for 30 days. Plus, for a limited time, get an iPhone 16 Pro Max on us when you buy one with our best plan and handset protection. Nextech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
Your Cheyenne County Hospital in St. Francis offers you a quality rehabilitation department. This includes a variety of staff that provides physical therapy, occupational therapy, aquatic therapy, speech therapy, and women's health. To schedule appointment, call 785-332-2104. Again, that's 785-332-2104. The Cheyenne County Hospital on 210 West Street in St. Francis.
New year, new projects, and new deals at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Start 2025 with a bang by tackling those home improvements. Refresh your space with vibrant Benjamin Moore paint or stock up on storage totes and shelves, perfect for organizing. Lumber prices are down, making it easier to tackle your next big project. Keep warm while you grill year-round with their top-notch grills and smokers from Traeger and Weber. And don't let the snow slow you down. Check out their great selection of snowblowers from Ego and Toro. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby, your partner for a productive new year.
Farmers, the spring crop insurance deadline is fast approaching. Have you started the process of getting a written agreement on crops that are not typically insurable? This deadline is also March 15th, but much more information is needed in order to request coverage. Now is the time to call or stop by the insurance agency in Goodland to review your crops and coverage. See Roxanne, Susan, and Judy at the insurance agency located at 1020 Main in Goodland, or call them at 785-899-5011 for your peace of mind.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
And Max Gershon.
Look at their schedule, folks. They played no one, and they never do to start the year until they play Kansas. They get these Mickey Mouse wins out of their ways.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
They're basically idiots.
Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bone loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch. In the end zone, touchdown Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the insurance agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Bounce pass goes to Jefferson, elbow left. Hand off to Momchilovich, long jumper. Good. It's a 3 for Milan. He has 10 first half points.
Here's a let with it out front. The shot. Sends it to Trey White. They want to get that ball to Uday. White's got it. Works it in traffic. Forces one for 8.
Got it. Foul.
Rotates to Tanjay for 3. Left side. Book.
release. Another for Tanjay.
Down to 3 against Chatfield. Fires a 3 right between the eyes from downtown. Holy cow. He made it. I think it was, he might have had his eyes shut on that one. I'm not sure.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. We're back here on the Morning Blitz on this February the 19th. Another cold start to the day. Negative 14, the temperature this morning, which has got Max highly enthused about that weather. But don't worry, it will. I mean, I think it's supposed to get above zero today. It did not yesterday, at least here. I think the high yesterday was like -1 or -2. That was the high that it all got to yesterday. Very, very cold day. But we will see a high of 6 here on this Thursday. And don't worry, warmer temperatures are coming up. It's going to feel like summer by the time Saturday gets here with temperatures in the 50s. So no need to worry about that. But a cold, cold morning. Bundle up, be safe as you're out there working around here this Wednesday morning. I'm feeling good this morning. I'm feeling good. I know Max is. I'm surprised Max made it into the show. Usually I'm the last one to get in on the stream. With Max, he's usually the first one on the stream every morning, and he was not. So I had to text him, make sure that he actually, is alive after what happened last night with Kansas basketball. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. I was concerned. I thought, well, I know you're not of drinking age, but I thought maybe you might have drank yourself on the table last night.
No, I had interviews. I had some of the high school. I had 5 seniors that I had to get. I did interviews this morning because they have late starts, so I get them in the morning. And usually I text you when that's happening, but I just forgot to this morning. So
it's not a big deal. I just was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. No, when you texted me that I was in the middle, I was like, yeah, I probably should have mentioned I might be a couple minutes late. But
it wouldn't be that big a deal if I was always the first one on the stream.
Right.
Usually you are the first one. So I was like, and I know one time I text you, you're like, I'm coming. I'm a little bit late, but I'll be there.
There was one time, and I have not been late. I've made it at the buzzer twice, and one was when I had to drive to Goodland the day we were moving out.
That's understandable.
That was at the buzzer.
Yep.
And then there was one that was not understandable, which it was at the buzzer, and I was pretty mad about myself for that for like a week. But we've been on a good streak. We've definitely been on a good streak.
No, you've been good. You've been real good. I was just a little concerned this morning, considering what happened last night in Provo, Utah, which we will get to here in just a matter of moments. Get ready, folks. Max is going to unload. I have a feeling here in the first segment. So if you want to hear a rant, it's about to happen here in just a few minutes. I'm excited for our second segment. We're going to have Colby girls basketball head coach Yancey Walker join us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. Look forward to visiting with him about the great season that the Lady Eagles are having in Colby. So look forward to having Yancey Walker on the program. And then we'll try to channel some warm thoughts as we'll talk a little bit of spring training and some interesting news out of that in segment 3 coming up here on a Wednesday program. As always, the F&B Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222 if you'd like to chime in that way. Of course, you can chime in through the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on X, Facebook, YouTube. We see those comments as well if you'd like to chime in and let us know how you're feeling with the cold temps or where you're listening from. Like I said, yesterday we had a listener up in Canada, which was pretty cool. So, if you want to let us know all that stuff, that would be great. But we'll start off the show last night. It was a really good night last night. I mean, it was a good night of college basketball. There were some really good matchups in last night's college basketball slate. There were some decent games. There was no NBA, which makes it even better. So the world focus on actually good basketball. So it was kind of a win. But it was not for Kansas. That was probably the bad thing, is that there wasn't a lot of basketball on. So everyone and their dog watched Kansas get whooped by 34 points, matching the largest defeat of the Bill Self era there at BYU. That was really, really bad, as we know. But that was rough. That was a rough one. And I'm telling you what, everyone and their dog this morning and last night has had a comment about what is going on with Kansas basketball. I mean, it's the national writers, it's the bloggers, it's the Twitter sphere. Everyone has had a comment about KU basketball after last night's whole thing. All right, Max, there, I set the table for you. What's up? What are your first thoughts? I mean, you didn't have a lot of confidence. First and foremost, yesterday you said, I predict a loss. So once again, I will give you credit. You did correctly predict that. But now that we sit here 24 hours later, how are you feeling?
Well, I will say that you said everyone and their dog watched the game, turned it off very early. Turned it off very, very early, like I have for a lot of the games this year, because there's no hope in that they would come back and get anything close to that. I mean, that was just a disaster. I mean, I was checking in on it and stuff, but I mean, you don't even need to watch the game to know how. I mean, just look at the scoreboard. I mean, the biggest loss, tied for the biggest loss in Bill Self era, which is my entire life. For those wondering, that is basically my entire life. A couple years extended to. But look, I mean, I've been saying it. I've been saying how terrible this team is and how they don't deserve to be ranked since they were the 15 seed, and now they're finally going to fall out of the rankings. And I mean, it's something we haven't seen, or I haven't seen in my life, a KU team this bad. But there's no piece they don't have one piece to the puzzle. They don't have one single piece to the puzzle. There's not a piece on the court that plays well with another one. None of them fit. None of them play well together. There's no energy. There's no effort. It looks like they've given up. My favorite part about all these games is looking on Twitter and seeing guys like Cole Aldrich was tweeting last night saying, put the managers in. Maybe the managers care. You know, Christian Braun has been tweeting, and it's a complete and utter disaster. And I think there is definitely, and I'm not a guy that just wants to jump on the bandwagon and blame Hunter and KJ, even though they're not playing, you know, they're not helping, or just jump on and be like, Bill Self isn't good at coach anymore. But there needs to be an adjustment at a certain point. It cannot, the message that Bill Self has given to these players is not working, and there hasn't been a change. There has not been a change in what I watched at the beginning of the year to what I've watched now when they started losing these games. I mean, it's crazy to think about that this team beat Duke on a neutral site court without Hunter Dickinson for 10 minutes. Can you believe that is the same team we're watching right now?
It's a completely different. I mean, once again, folks, remember that this team was predicted. This was the preseason number one ranked team in the country. I mean, they were voted by coaches and media to be the number one team based upon what you had coming back and who you were bringing in from the transfer portal. This was the number one ranked team in the preseason. And now Max will get his wish, because after next week's rankings, they will be out of the top 25. They will not be in it.
Yeah, they've completely fallen off. I mean, it's been nothing short of a disaster, like I said again. And you know, this Bill Self has a system. And, you know, if you do not play in the system that Bill Self has set for this team, you'll look at a place. Look at AJ Storr. AJ Storr was he was one of the best players in the Big Ten last year. He was absolutely fantastic for Wisconsin. I watched a lot of Wisconsin basketball last year. He was a guy that I thought coming into this year was going to be a problem for everyone in the Big 12. And he has turned into a gigantic flop. And I'm not sure. This is where I start to look at Bill Self, because you don't just go from that talent everyone saw at Wisconsin to what he has been producing on the floor this year without some sort of lack of adjusting to a player's athleticism, his style of play. There is not that big of a gap unless there's some coaching issue going on at hand. And I know I love Bill Self, and he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, but it's been concerning, the lack of adjustment to guys like him and Ryland this year. That is like, why would anyone want to come play for KU next year? Why would anyone want to be like, all right, I'm playing freely and I'm playing good basketball for a school like Wisconsin, Alabama, Indiana, any school around the country, and be like, I want to go play for a system that's might make me worse, that I might not fit in, or you know. So it's very concerning. And a lot of these kids that transferred, they've never played in a system like this. They've never played in an offense where they didn't really have full freedom. And that's just really hurting KU, because they just cannot figure it out.
Okay, I have a question for you and for any listener who wants to chime in on the FA Bank text line or on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. If you had to assign a percentage of fault on this season to this point, players and Bill Self, what would the percentage breakdown be?
That's a good question. You know, and this is a question I might, might fluctuate, but I would say
we're
after
just basing
watching
it off
last
of right
night,
now. Just right now, we'll just go off right now where it sits.
55% players, 45% Bill.
Okay.
That's what I would put it at right now in my mind. And I think everyone would probably give you a different answer on that.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt.
You know, going back to my point about who would want to, I was thinking about this. I'm like, AJ Storr is this story of him coming to Kansas has been, no pun intended there, but that he is just completely flopped is going to prevent, and transfers, and you're going to have to pay transfers a lot more money now to try to play. You want me to come play in your system where I'm not going to be, where I have a chance to not get the ball as much, and who knows, we might not even be win games, because that was the whole thing. You're going to come win games at KU, and maybe you might not score as much, but you're going to come win games. And now they're not even winning games, and you've had guys that transfer in that have completely flopped. But this year it's gonna be interesting where they go from here. Obviously they're gonna be in the tournament, and who knows what happens. I saw someone being like, "Oh, this could be, the UNC team that didn't get a lot of wins in the regular season, but they just had so much talent it prevailed through the tournament." Who knows? I guess, but I'm not one to. I can't look at what happened last night and be like, this team has any chance and against a mid-major that's going to knock down 25, 33s in a game against them in the first round. So.
I've talked about this team, a couple of times, and I've said the word senioritis, senioritis is what I have used multiple times. Look, I see more. I see it every game. I see it. I saw it last night in DeJuan Harris. There was a turnover, and DeJuan Harris just is lollygagging back, trying on defense. He doesn't care. It ends up being a layup on the other end for BYU, but didn't have. And he probably could have cut him off, or at least got to him and at least contested a little bit. He just dogged it. I mean, it's that kind of stuff. And I don't care. I mean, Hunter Dickinson, say what you want. He has his moments of greatness, but he also has some moments of just, so whatever. For a guy his size and getting paid probably what he's getting paid. I mean, it's the return on the ROI is not good. And you're talking about how bringing in these transfer players and they're not matching up with, Bill's system and stuff like that. It's a give and take deal. I think that's going to be once again, I'm not trying to put this all on Bill, but you have to, in this era, you have to meet your guys halfway. You're recruiting guys now out of the portal, pretty much like speed dating. They come in for a visit. You get a hold of them saying, "Hey, we will be willing to pay you this much money if you like it." And so that's the hook. And they come and they see your campus. They meet with the coaches, and then the coach is like, I like that guy. We'll do this, or maybe we should go separate ways. You're speed dating. You're getting pretty much one date with one person before you're going to commit to them for probably a year. That is so hard.
Yeah,
so hard to do for any coach. So because recruiting, like a lot of things in life, is built upon relationships, and you build relationships over the course of time. Was our show very good when we started out together? No, probably not. I didn't know Max. Max really doesn't know me. Is our show that great? I don't know. It's getting better. It's getting better because we have some context with each other. And so we have a little bit more fun because of that. Not beforehand, though. And so you're having to meet your players more halfway if you're going to do this. We talked about Kansas State and how they got on that run for a while, and it was great. And the reason, and we talked with Wyatt Thompson about that, and he goes, and I asked a question about, did Jerome Tang have to come meet his players some? And he said, yes, probably he did have to choose some things differently. If Bill Self is so systematic, as you say he is, and I'm going to take your word for it, he's going to have to adapt somewhat in this new era to allow players to have success if this is the way you're going to want to go in the future. Now, you can make a choice. You can make a choice if you're Bill Self. You can say, all right, I gave it 2 years of this transfer portal thing with Hunter Dickinson and some other players, bringing in the best talent. And guess what? We've had 2 of my worst years at Kansas here the last couple of years back to back. They've had 2. Someone was saying these are the 2 of consecutive years together. They're 2 of the worst years underneath Bill Self.
They are.
Yeah. So you've done this, and it hasn't really worked out that great. So you can either say, okay, I'm going to make some changes and we're going to find a way to be better about finding the right pieces for this team, or we're going to just go back to the old school way. Because we are a blue blood, we can recruit the best players. We're going to pay the best players to hang around, and we're going to build a team that way like we did in the past. At Kansas, you can make that decision. You have the right. You have earned that as a blue blood, winning multiple national championships and playing in the Fog, having all this great history. You can do that. There are other programs that do not have that luxury. They're going to have to play in the portal way more. But Kansas can go out and get the best players, recruit them out of high school, and develop them like a Flory Bedunga or others. They can do that going forward. They don't have to play in the portal as much. I think we've learned that if you want to play in the portal, it's going to take it's going to take some really special coaching jobs and team chemistry to get that all to work together. And it's a very difficult thing to do. Very difficult.
Yeah. And look, one of the problems about this team that you can't really blame on anyone, I guess. If you want, you can blame it a little bit on Bill Self just for how this roster was constructed. But look back at the last 2 years, they have not been the same without Jalen Wilson. They have not been the same basketball team since Jalen Wilson left. They have not had a number one guy that can go just get them
Well,
buckets.
last year they had McCullough, but he was hurt.
Well, McCullough was hurt, but he was never going to be that Jalen Wilson guy. He was never going to be that Jalen Wilson guy. McCullough was always a defensive first guy, and they tried to change him into being their number one scorer, and it wasn't work. It worked sometimes, but it wasn't working.
I don't think we have enough evidence to know that it would have worked. He was hurt so much last year. I don't think we have enough evidence to know if it would have worked or wouldn't have. But anyway, continue.
And DeJuan Harris has not had NBA guards like Jalen Wilson and Grady Dick next to him, and it hasn't been the same since. So, I mean, it's just they need to have, for this system to work, you have got to have a guy that can go and get buckets when you need it. And it's not on this team. It's not on this team. There's no one that can consistently go and get you buckets down the stretch of the game.
But at the same time, you don't have to play the system. Okay, then who do you blame on the fact that it doesn't matter? There was an effort problem last night, and it was by far the worst. I mean, you allow 14 made threes to BYU, a lot of them not really uncontested. You were minus 10 in rebounding. We talked about Riley Gates yesterday. That's an effort thing. The turnovers, 15 turnovers. I mean, that's an effort thing. It's about actually wanting to go out and do it. I mean, KU just looks like as if they go out on the floor and like, well, we're KU. We've earned the right to be here. We're going to win. No, you're not that even.
It looks like
anymore.
It looks like it's just their job. It looks like they're just going out to do their job. Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Anymore.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just, and I'm glad that there are like people like Cole Aldrich and Christian Braun and other alumni that are voicing their opinion on it, because it's blatantly obvious to everyone else that these guys do not fight for what Kansas basketball represents and what this Bill Self era has represented over the span of my lifetime. There's no energy on this team, and there always has been some spark to KU basketball forever. And I've just never seen, and a lot of people much older than me still, have not seen a team like this. And, and the worst part is that they lost to Missouri and K-State. So Missouri and K-State fans get to go all over Twitter and like dance on our graves.
Lord,
it's like, come on. And they, they're loving every second of all the KU fans complaining about Bill Self. But, it just, at the end of the day, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But from my view, it just looks like the coaching and the players cannot meet. There's some sort of stubbornness that they cannot meet in the middle and adjust to make this team fit together. It's like, well, this is what we have. These are how they play. And let's just hope it automatically fits. And it hasn't, and it's not going to. So you get losses like what you've seen over the last 2 games or last 3 games now. And it's brutal to watch. And I've, chosen to stop watching.
I've got a couple quick quotes here. This was from Bill Self post game. Said he goes, quote, I'm talked out. We need to get away from each other. I'll tell you that point blank. I thought this would be a great opportunity to do some team bonding, but it hasn't been.
And the other to go further on that quote, what he said after that was that this is the first time he will, he had talked about it being them versus the world. No one believes in them because this is the first time that they can really say that in a while, that no one believes in them and that everyone thinks it's over for them, and using that as motivation, and that even that didn't really work. And it's, they'll continue to use it, but yeah, I don't know if that's not motivation for you, that everyone thinks that you suck and that this is the worst team in Kansas. That should be motivation itself. Everyone's calling you the worst team in Kansas basketball in Bill Self's era, and you're making Bill Self look bad. Fight for him and fight for your dignity.
These guys have no love for Bill Self. They haven't been with him for that long.
Three of them should. And those are three that are two. Sorry. Two of them are showing the least effort. Three of them have been around for long enough to love Bill Self. Two of them are showing the least amount of effort on the court.
It's hard to drag three bodies with two. It's hard to do. It's hard to do that. By the way, this was the quote of the night, I thought, from Hunter Dickinson. Shout out to Henry Greenstein, who had this on Twitter. Obviously, we're going to catch a lot of flack, whether it's fans, national media, rightfully so, because we just lost by damn near 40. And that's obviously not Kansas basketball. Nobody's going to feel bad for us now that NIL is a thing and players are getting paid. You know what? I'll give Hunter Dickinson credit. He nailed that quote. He nailed it.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for you. Probably the reason why you do stink to an extent is because you are getting paid. That's probably the biggest.
He's also an a-hole to everyone on the court. You can't play the style of basketball that he plays, where he just waddles like a penguin up and down the court. Rocks the baby and, does all these celebrations when he's playing good and then just suck. You've got to be a winner if you want to play that way, that style, and get into brawls and all that stuff that Hunter Dickinson brings to his game. But he's not good. He's not good. He doesn't play defense. There was a hilarious clip of Big Cat. I don't know if you know Big Cat from Barstool, who had bet on KU in that collapse against Houston, and he was talking about Hunter Dickinson. He's like, putting your hands up like this is not playing defense. You can't just put two hands up and be like, that's defense. And he's 100% right. Hunter just puts his hands up and it's defense. That's defense to him. He does the very minimum on that side of the basketball and really, he's not that good on offense. I don't care. I really don't care. I watch him miss so many shots. He's not efficient. There's no efficiency. I don't get what they saw, and it's mind blowing that
Bill Self has always had a big man. He's always had a big man in his program. Bill Self, whether it's Cole Aldridge or Udoka Azubuike or Joel Embiid, he's always had a great big until the last couple of years where he's kind of gone more guard oriented because he's had to. And I think when he saw Hunter Dickinson, he's like, "Ooh, I can get that guy in, and we'll have another big." And it just has not panned out. It just has not panned out for Bill.
Which works for 1 year.
I could go on with, we got to get to Yancey Walker, but I do want to bring up a food for thought question during the break. Is this the beginning of the end for Bill Self? Great tenures for coaches come to an end at some point in time. And I'm just kind of curious. Do you think this is the beginning of the end for Bill Self? Food for thought over the break. Let's get to a break. We'll come back. Yancey Walker is going to join us next here on a Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Hello, I'm Becca Durler. As a proud member of the Southwest District FFA officer team, I invite you to join us during National FFA Week to celebrate FFA and show your support of agricultural education and the future of agriculture. This week, we recognize our members' and supporters' impact on our chapters, communities, and agriculture. By doing just one positive action, each and every one of us can make a difference. Visit FFA.org today to learn how you can get involved.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Wednesday, February 19th. On the overnights last night, March corn lower 1 1/4 at $5. May down a cent at 5.14 3/4. July down a cent at 5.17 1/2. September corn down 3/4 cents at 4.79 3/4. March beans down 1 1/4 at 10.37 1/4. May down 1 1/4 at 10.54 1/4. July down 1 1/2 at 10.70. August down a cent at 10.68 3/4. Chicago leads the March contract lower 5 3/4 at 5.99. May down 5 1/2 at 6.12 1/4. July down 5 cents at 6.25. September down 4 3/4 at 6.39. Kansas City leads March contract lower 4 1/4 on the overnights at 6.23. May down 4 1/2 at 6.34 3/4. July down 4 cents at 6.45 3/4. September hard wheat down 4 1/4 at 6.58 1/4. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down $111 at 44,534. The S&P down 11 at 6,135. The Nasdaq down 24 at 22,208. Crude oil up 73 cents a barrel at 72.58, and gold higher $4 an ounce at 2,953. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Saludo, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has Country Legend, featuring the front man of country, Larry Stewart, formerly of Restless Heart. Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star. And Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas. Frontman of Country, live at the Colby Event Center, Saturday, May 3rd. Get your tickets now at nwksradio.net.
It's the Morning Blitz.
We're having a great time, couple of laughs, everything's nice.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central.
7:37 Mountain, 8:37 in the Central Time Zone on a Wednesday morning. Once again, very cold start to the day. -14 the temperature right now, on our way to a high of 6 on this Wednesday. Expecting warmer temperatures tomorrow, and especially Friday and into Saturday. We're pleased to welcome into the program first-time guest. We're welcoming in a head coach of the Colby High School girls basketball team, Yancey Walker, who joins us now on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. Good morning, Coach Walker. Thank you for spending time with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Coach, I want us just to dive right in first and foremost about this team and this season. You know, you guys have been so close for the last couple of years, and you have this great group of this team led by this great group of senior girls. What do you think has been the biggest difference in kind of breaking through here this past season in comparison to being so close the last couple of them?
I just think that they really have taken on the ability to care for each other. We talk about trust, we talk about love, we talk about those things all the time and what that looks like. We've talked about the path to greatness, which every day is a new step or something else we have to get better at. And they've bought into that, but they were, just for the seniors specifically, they were close before they even know who I was. So I think that their relationships that they had built prior to when I arrived, and from the time pretty much they were literally children, probably has been something that's helped as much as anything when we talk about building into the success of having a season like this.
Coach, this is something we talked about after the win on Monday night against Scott City, but your girls have found ways to win in all different styles this year. This one was probably the closest it's been in GWAC play this season. What did that win, being so close, show to you and show to this team of what they can do in the postseason?
Well, I'm probably going to take that one the other way. I hope it shows us we've got to continue to get better. We can't be satisfied with where we are at. And I don't think that was necessarily the case, but if we can learn from when we have success instead of learning from losing, then that helps us out as much as anything. But, us at our best is a pretty good group of girls, and we can compete with pretty much anybody, I feel like, at the 3A level for sure. But not that we would just go out and dominate everybody, but we would for sure be able to compete and have a chance to win the game no matter who we were playing. So hopefully we learn that, and then with the different styles or the different ways we had to play, I mean, it really is players over plays, because when the times got tough in that game, defensively, they just sat down and did their job. Scott City didn't score in the last minute 43, and that was pretty big. When it was time to get to the free throw line, or if it was time to get an offensive rebound, or if it was time to hit a shot, we had several different people do that. And so, again, it just goes back to players over plays. And so making sure that those players are adequately equipped to make those plays when they need to.
Yancey Walker is our guest here on the Morning Blitz. He's the Colby girls high school basketball coach. Lady Eagles 17-2, going into their final regular season game coming up here. Coach, you mentioned it. You had an interesting point. You talked about these girls knowing each other for their lives, and you coming in late. Being a coach and doing this as long as you have, what is that process like from the coach's perspective to build that trust with a group of gals or whoever you're coaching, and to get them to believe in you and to follow you, and then to have success? What's that process like, and what are the challenges of that?
Well, the process of it is screwing it up before you get it right. And not that I get it right every day, but the main thing is just, I let me backtrack, I guess, a little bit. I have some teams that when I was at Missouri State West Plains back in the good old days, in my former life, as I refer to it, and there were some teams I didn't do a very good job of those things, of building that trust and building the belief in each other and in me and everything else. And, and that hurt us. I mean, we had a really talented team that didn't go to the national tournament and probably should have. But with this group, they wanted to be coached at a high level from the start, from the first summer that I was here. And I think just being consistent the entire time has probably been the most important thing, and just being real. I think that there are times that you have to say things that they don't want to hear, but as long as it's said in love and with the intention of helping everybody get better, that it's more well received and it helps that process go along. You can say things without love, and you can say the same thing with love and without it, and they are vastly different in the result that they produce.
I just actually had Elizabeth and Logan in this morning to do some interviews for the pregame show on Friday, and I was asking them their first memory of high school basketball, and they took me back to a game against Liberty where they lost by 50. They were saying
Liberal.
That's what I meant. Liberal. Talk to me about just how much what you've seen improvement wise, and how much they have improved since their early days in high school, and how special of a group this is.
Well, Liberal was a tough game. That group of Liberal girls would be a tough game for us right now too. They had a Division I point guard that went and played for actually a Kansas gal from Argonia, or I think Argonia, but anyway, over in the Carolinas somewhere. But what they did was just really, so we went from getting blown out by 50 to 8 days later winning third at the topside tip-off, and we had 3 freshman girls starting with 2 seniors. And we adjusted a lot of stuff in that week, and it wasn't like we had to reinvent the wheel because they spoke basketball. And if they hadn't been able to do that, then it would have been a lot tougher. But we just got it to where, you know, it was a lot harder for teams to score on us. And then with that same group with 3 freshmen and 2 seniors, and then a variety of girls off the bench, we lost to Dodge. It was I think a 4-point game or a 6-point game with 4 minutes left. And, you know, at that time there wasn't a shot clock, so we had to foul earlier than we wanted to. But just, so, you know, we kind of proved to ourselves we could compete with anybody, because at that time they had 5 girls going on to play college basketball, and then, you know, Goodland beat them in the finals. And then we played them later in the year and lost by 1, had to lead the whole game, and just didn't quite have enough. We're one rebound away from winning it. But they just bought into those things, and, you know, I've never really had to coach effort. And when that's the case, then you can make adjustments a lot easier. If you have to coach effort, it makes it a lot tougher.
Yancey Walker's our guest, Colby High School girls basketball coach. Yancey, Elizabeth Barton's been the top player there for Colby for the last couple of years, and now in her senior campaign. Where have you seen her improve the most over her tenure? Because like you said, she's played pretty much since she was a freshman.
Well, I think they've all just steadily improved at everything. I think that the roles have adjusted. When they were freshmen, well, Elizabeth was hurt half a year when she was a freshman, but we had Brooklyn Jones when they were freshmen, and Emma Curry, and, you know, they did a lot of the scoring, and all Logan had to do was distribute, and Elizabeth didn't have to score as much, but she did. You know, we could take more chances with her defensively earlier in her career, and then later on we had to back that off a little bit just because we couldn't. It just made it tougher when she was in foul trouble. But, you know, Allie went from, you know, she was kind of the one that didn't play as much as a freshman, and then as a sophomore started. And so, you know, and Bryn started all but 2 of her games. So they've all just improved in various ways. But, you know, I think Elizabeth also leads us in assists a lot of days for a lot of games. So I think if I had to say one thing, she was never a selfish teammate, but I think she sees the seams and what's open a lot easier, a lot quicker. And a lot of that just comes with experience. So it really just has been a consistent improvement of becoming a better player. And she just understands how to get little things done. And that's an advantage to her when she's getting to the free throw line or whatever the case may be.
One of my favorite players from Colby over her career has been Logan Nolan. I just love point guard play, and I'm curious, how much easier is it to coach when you have a point guard with the great handles and understanding the game like Logan Nolan does?
Well, obviously she makes it easier just because she can get us in stuff and she doesn't turn it over very much. But probably what people underestimate about her the most is just how strong she is. And nobody puts in more time shooting baskets than Logan Nolan. I mean, her game is already college ready as far as the process of it. Now she'll have to get faster and get better, and everything will have to happen quicker when she plays next year. But as far as putting in the extra time and getting shots up and, you know, just working on little things here and there, putting herself in disadvantaged situations to get shots off, she's already got good habits as far as the next level goes. But she gets us in everything, and then people can't lose her. She keeps the defense spread out, so we can usually find a spot one way or another. And then if they go underneath a ball screen, then she's got the ability to pull up either from 15 feet or from 3, and she's got pretty deep range. So there are a lot of different things. It'd be hard to pinpoint one thing that she does just to make us better. I think that she simply does everything pretty well, and has really enjoyed being the defensive person who picks up the ball and tries to make life tough for the other team's point guard as well. So a lot of things that she's done to make life easier for me, which that's what I want a lot more people to do, is make life easier for me.
Well, Coach, we also talked about, you know, a chance at history on Friday, you know, because this is the first time that a team has played each team twice in a season of the GWAC, and you guys obviously have not lost yet. Tell me about what goes into this game on Friday and how you take advantage of having a chance to make history.
Well, we just want to make sure that our emotions don't get the best of us because it is senior night and everything else. We just want to make sure that we compartmentalize everything, our preparation today and tomorrow, our walkthrough on Friday, the game itself, and then we can worry about the extracurricular things. So if we can just keep everything compartmentalized and focus on what it's going to take that success against Hugoton, that'll be the most important part. And then after that, we can reflect and all those other things that go with senior night. But leading up to it, we just need to make sure we're focused on the things that led us to have success last time.
Once again, Yancey Walker is our guest, Colby High School girls basketball coach. Coach, I know you still got one more game left, the regular season before the postseason. I totally get that. But as you come into this final regular season game, how do you feel about your team just going into it as its whole as you get ready to start the postseason and hopefully a deep postseason run?
You know, we talk about all the time that we don't scare anybody getting off the bus. You know, and Ross knows what I'm talking about because he got to cover Goodland when they, you know, were 7'2" and 6'7" and crap. That's how I remember it. I don't know if it's that way or not, but anyway, they were physically imposing when they got off the bus. Well, we're not physically imposing when we get off the bus, but we can be pretty imposing when we start the game. And that's probably the biggest thing we want to focus on is just the little things that have got us to this point cannot go away. The little things that have got us to this point have to magnify. And so we have to be the best rebounding team we can be. We have to take care of the basketball the best we possibly can. And we have to be excited about the fact that, you know, when it's our chance to make a play, we need to make it. It's not really a situation of, you know, we can't ride one person all the way. You know, as a group, we're really good. As 5 individuals, we're just like everybody else. And what's allowed us to have the success, what's allowed us to get to this point is just simply counting on everybody else to do their jobs to the best of their abilities.
Once again, Coach Yancey Walker, girls high school basketball coach there. Colby, one more from me, Coach. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. It's the first time really visiting with you, just kind of away from the court. And I just wanted to know, you've gone from, you know, like you said, you were at the junior college level, come back to high school. What was that like? And I'm assuming you've really enjoyed coming back and coaching the high school ranks.
Well, getting to coach these girls has made it incredibly enjoyable. You know, I was at a school in Missouri for a year, and then I was at an inner city school in Tulsa for a year. And then I was back at a really small school, like a Brewster type school, when I was in Missouri before I came out here. And, you know, when I was chasing the college dream, I mean, I had to live in Hawaii for 2 years. And I do say that I had to live in Hawaii for 2 years. You know, I love the guy that I worked for and enjoyed that part of it. But, you know, I missed Western Kansas every day when I was in Hawaii. So
probably not today. Being able my guess. Not today. Probably not today.
Yeah,
You're missing Hawaii.
Oh, you know, I do Aloha Friday. If it was Friday, I'd be wearing an Aloha shirt.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, I got it. How many Aloha Hawaiian shirts do you have in your closet?
I don't know, probably 10.
See, I told you, Max. I told you had more.
I try to be
You're right. You're right.
I try to be festive with them. I got some Christmas ones and this and that and the other. But, you know, as far as, so giving a little bit, probably too much background, but, you know, as far as being able to come in to coach this group of young ladies, it was the perfect fit just because, like I said earlier, they wanted to be pushed. They wanted to be coached from the very start. And we didn't have to coach a lot of effort or anything like that. And everything that I said, they either asked or it made sense to them. And so the college stuff, I miss parts of that just simply because when those kids got to school, as soon as they had their physicals, it was basketball starting the next day. And with this, we have to wait for volleyball season and all kinds of things like that. But, you know, these girls really don't have a different gear for the summer. They don't have a different gear for November 15th. It's just they give their best effort all the time. And this group is just special in how they care for each other and honestly how they've welcomed me. I knew a lot of their parents, or a fair majority of their parents, from when I was up here before, but so that probably made it a little bit easier. I watched a lot of them grow up on Facebook, which is kind of what we do, I guess, in these times. But there's not a luckier coach, than me to get to have this group and walk into this group. So what I miss about the college level is far made up for and exceeded with the group that I get to coach. And it's not going to stop with this senior group. I mean, every girl that we have in our program is a good gal. And I mean, none of us are perfect, but all of our imperfections added together have, led to a pretty successful group.
No, absolutely. He once again is Yancey Walker, head coach of the Colby High School girls basketball team. Coach, thank you so much for spending some time. Pull out those Hawaiian shirts so that we can get some warm weather here. Okay, we'd appreciate it if you could bring those warm vibes.
Yeah, little manifestation. I do what I can, and I was just gonna. So I went to school for broadcasting, so I want to flip it on Ross. Was I correct in that? Didn't you guys go 7'2" and then 6'7" and then 6'11" across the middle there those years?
I'm sure from the opposing coach's perspective, it probably looked like that. But I'm not 7 foot, and I could look at those girls in the eye. So we'll say that. So
yeah, but when you stand on a chair, that doesn't count.
That's a valid point. But I totally get it, Yancey. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, Coach. Best of luck as you get rolling here with the regular season finale and the postseason. We'll talk soon.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Once again, great stuff there from Yancey Walker. Great sense of humor. That was funny stuff.
Great
stuff. Right, let's get to a break. When we come back, we will wrap up the show with some thoughts on some spring training baseball. We'll try to have some warm thoughts as we wrap up the show here on a Wednesday morning.
New year, new projects, and new deals at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Start 2020.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get a 2025 GMC Sierra 2500 with 4.9% financing for 60 months, or drive off in a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 with $2,750 in rebates or 2.9% financing for 48 months. Plus, don't miss your chance to save big on their last hail vehicle, a 24 GMC Sierra 2500 Pro Diesel, originally just over $67,000, now just over $56,000. Deals this good won't last. Hurry to Hurl Chevrolet GMC today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Quick hits, bold takes, and all the action.
I'll take that action.
Welcome back to the Morning Blitz.
Thanks again to Yancey Walker for joining us. A great conversation with him about a great season that the Lady Eagles are having currently over in Colby. I would question from the FB Bank text line as we wrapped up segment number 1. This is going back to our conversation about KU. Right. Question is, could it be that work ethic is the most recent generation that has bled into sports? Everyone is looking for help. No one can find help. Maybe just college kids getting paid to play isn't the answer. Thoughts? Well, first of all, college kids getting played is not the answer. I can guarantee you that. It has absolutely destroyed college athletics, and it's going to continue to destroy them until somehow, some way, they find a way to put barriers up. I will guarantee that. As for it as applies to this KU team, I don't know. I think it has something to do with it. I mean, when you're getting paid and, you're probably not going to, you're getting paid and this is probably the money you're going to make. You probably, and for some of these guys, they may not even make the same type of money going forward in the NBA or anything else in life. You kind of just like, I'm just going to enjoy this ride that I'm on right now. There's not a lot of working towards anything after this is the high point of their career, but they're not living it up or they're living it up in some ways, but not in the way they maybe should. Get what I'm saying?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It really does look like they're not giving their full effort, but it's hard to say because we're not them.
Nope. Well,
we're not them.
We are not them, but I would say in some way, form, or fashion, no matter how big or how small, I would say that NIL and paying players has impacted play performance for a majority of players. I would say that is the case. I would just say that it is. And once again, you sign a deal, and it's not like as if they can just pull that away because you play bad. No, you get what you get when you sign, and they're going to continue to pay that out through the contract. They're not going to just change it, anything like that. Once again, incentivized deals would be great. Incentivized deals would be great if you could do it and make it work. All right, we're up against the clock. We'll get to the walk-off and talk some spring training.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
13 spring stadiums and over 60% of Cactus and Grapefruit League games will feature automated ball strike challenge system. That's coming to Major League Baseball, at least the spring training. During the spring, each team will be given 2 challenges per game and will retain successful challenges. Only batter, catcher, or pitcher can initiate the challenge. Just got to tap on the helmet if they want to do that. Max, I think you've been calling for this for a while, so I'm guessing you're big on this.
I'm big on this. I think this is the answer. It's not robo-umps. It's not bigger bases. It's not whatever.
Bigger bases was a good one, though.
Yeah, whatever. But this is the best change that they could make is adding this feature. 2 feels small. I would go up a little more. I would go up to 5 a game.
Oh, good Lord. It depends on how quickly they're going to make a change. I mean, how long does it take
think about how bad
call?
Think about how bad some umpires are.
I'm not saying that. My point is the question will be how quickly does it take to change?
It's quick. It's quick. Because they've done this in the minor league. You go like this. They have an earpiece in. The automated strike zone is in place. They use the same technologies they would if it was just a robot umpire back there.
Like TrackMan.
It says so the umpire has earbud and it says strike or ball in his ear. And then they would make the signal if this was a fully automated strike zone. But what they do instead is if they go challenge on the top of this is the signal, they press a button and it tells them strike or ball. And then it's they change the call. They say the call stands. They don't say it. They just make the signal and then we're on to the next pitch. It's pretty quick. And I think it's very good. It's very good because it's good. I just really like this rule.
I don't have anything against it. I don't want it to disrupt from the flow of the game.
No, it shouldn't.
They picked up pace of play. They need to continue to stay on that.
The test. From what I've seen from the minor league issue of this it's been quick. So,
all right, that'll do it. Fun show today. Fun talking about KU suffering and Yancey Walker making fun of other people. That was good. That was great.
That's a good recap.
That was the show. Check out the podcast if you missed any of it. For Max and Ross, we're back again tomorrow. Stay warm.